Hello, and welcome to the first of the Seer 365 sessions of 2023. I hope everybody's having a good start to their year and excited by what's ahead. On this first session, really excited to be welcoming Bruce from North52. So, Bruce, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Richard. Pleasure to be here.
So let's start, as we always do, with a bit of introduction about yourself and about North52.
Sure. So my name is Bruce Buxton. I'm partner and business development manager at North52. I've been with North52 nearly since its inception 10 years ago. And North52 is an ISV which focuses on the Dynamics. Well, it was a CRM platform, but it's much wider than that now. And we have a product which is a business rules engine, which we can talk a little bit about later on, and an automated testing tool as well. I mean, I've been involved with sort of the Dynamics platform for about 15 years now, from CRM3, and actually the North52 product sort of evolved out of our workings with CRM platform and not having low-code tools to be able to enable non-developers to build out sort of simplistic business rules. It was back in the day when we first started.
Great. So let's start there then, just so that we've got a baseline for everybody who's watching and listening. And by the way, if somebody is watching live and got any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. We'll put them up and get Bruce's take on it. Probably not my take, because I wouldn't be adding a lot of value, but Bruce will be answering questions as we go. So rules engines, what are they? What do they do? What do people use them for? Type stuff.
So rules engines, they allow you to essentially build complex business rules to process lots of different things in various business or government scenarios. Usually, it's around where you've got very complex needs. So you think of eligibility criteria for financial applications, maybe mortgage applications, insurance. Eligibility criteria, things like that. And, we've got a broad spectrum of clients. We've even got clients working along in sort of project management space, the oil pipeline management, for example, where they've got really complex project management needs. And they use our rules and, their rules, they put their rules into our engine to enable them to effectively manage those within their Dynamics application.
And what sort of, and again, just making stuff super simple. So what sort of rules would they be? What would that kind of look like?
Well, let's take a simple eligibility criteria, one that we use quite often in our demos, just to sort of give people a basic understanding is, when you're applying for a credit card, certain factors need to be established, age, credit rating, your income, and where you live. All those sorts of things are evaluated when you're applying for that credit card. And then you've got, if you pass some of those criteria, then you might have multiple different levels of credit available to you based on that information that you've supplied. And therefore the rules engine will process that and come out with, basically create an outcome. And that outcome could be, yes, they are eligible and this is the credit limit, or this is, they are not eligible and therefore we're going to fail their application and send them on their merry way.
Very cool. And with obvious, fairly obvious use cases for lots of different industries, like you said. And so as far as North52 goes, then sort of, how do you, what sort of products are you working with? I know you mentioned Dynamics, but I think you're doing stuff with Power Platform as well.
Yeah, so our heritage was the Dynamics CRM platform, which is now evolved into the Dynamics platform, which now enables you to Power Apps, model-driven apps, Power Portals, and North52 dovetails into all of those products. And where we really add some value is even with low code, Revolution, PowerFX, and actually if you go back to sort of North52's original heritage, we have a syntax very, very similar to PowerFX that we kind of developed about 10 years ago, and that sort of forms the basis for the rules within North52. And so that has moved through many iterations, and we've been able to build in lots and lots of, I guess, UI enhancements that allow you to build out your rules very quickly and easily. And one of those things is what we call decision tables. But essentially, going back to the question around, the products that we work with, traditionally it was dynamic CRM, but we're seeing a lot more uptake now of people wanting to do complex things with Power Apps, Canvas apps, and if you've got complexity within a Canvas app, you have to write some fairly lengthy PowerFX code. It's starting to get in the realms of not low code. It's becoming very much real code, which you need developers to be able to kind of maintain and structure when they've got these complex scenarios. So what you can do with North52 is basically send that heavy lifting off to the North52 engine. It can do the processing and return those values back to the Power App. And similarly on the portal side, you've got what I talked about before, eligibility criteria. Sometimes you might have some grants management application that you have on a portal where people are applying for grants, and the forms and the rules that are going as part of that process are actually usually quite complex. And so trying to do that with the out-of-the-box tools, you're always going to have to revert back to writing some JavaScript code on the Power Apps portals. Whereas if you use North52, we can eliminate that need for writing any of that JavaScript code, and you can build those rules within our engine itself. And we take care of all the nuances around deployment as well. So it's very easy to move from your dev environment to your test environment to your production environment using North52, because we just use the same managed solution framework. It can be either unmanaged or managed, that Microsoft uses to move all their components, which helps with automating the whole process as well. So you can use Azure DevOps to publish those rules from your dev environment to your test environment, and when they've passed, and move on to into production as well. And you can automate that. And that's one thing that we've been very, very careful with in North52, is making sure that we do provide all these enhancements, but also we use the technology that Microsoft provides us to enable the ease of putting that process into place.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I think with North52 is that end user ability to use it, right? Rather than having to have heavy developers come in, and it's not just the cost; it's as your business evolves, change. You want to make changes to the rules themselves. Having the ability for the customer to be able to do that, rather than bringing in third parties or having your own IT team within the business be you're invariably very busy and time constrained to be able to make those changes. I think that's a big area that I think North52 really helps with.
Sure, there's plenty of examples where customers have been able to take or build or take over something that a partner has built with North52 and manage that going forward. And that's a key, I guess, feature or selling point for North52 is the ability to change those rules. And a lot of industries, government, finance, those rules are changing all the time. It could be regulatory changes, there could be strategic changes in the business, and they need to be able to get those rules changes out quickly. And one of the things that North52 also allows is you get sort of consistency in the way that those rules are being built. So it means that if someone else comes along and is going to edit the rule, they can see it fairly easily, how it's structured, how to change it, and then that's sort of going to be consistent amongst all their rules. It sort of helps with that handover process as well as staff move from one role to another.
Very cool. Very cool. So I know one of the other areas that North52 work on is automated testing.
Yeah.
I know testing is an area where it's kind of one of these things where it's traditionally been very manual, but also one of those last things that happens within a project, and then post go live when you should also be testing after changes and stuff. That stuff seems to get dropped by the wayside. So do you want to talk a little bit about automated testing and what you're seeing around there and how North52 helps with that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, because of the critical nature of a lot of the business rules that our clients are using North52 for, it's kind of imperative that they are testing those rules on a regular basis. And as you said before, testing is one of those things that's often left last to do, and actually often it's just dropped altogether because it is, it's very costly to set up and maintain. But the flip side of that is, if you get something wrong or something stops working, it could cost a business tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions if their critical applications aren't running. So one thing that we developed, and it kind of again came out of the development of our own tool. We've got well over 500 functions that you can use within our decision suite, and we need to be able to test that all of those work in different scenarios every time we do a release. And so what we did is we built an automated testing engine that enabled us to test all those functions very, very quickly. So and we can get a new deployment of North52 out very quickly, tested within about 10 to 15 minutes when we run our tool. And one of the key differences between North52's Test Shield, which is what we call it, and other testing tools is that we do all the testing server side. So it's a complementary testing tool. So we're not testing UI and making sure that buttons are on forms and they're in the right place. What we're really interested in with North52 is testing those rules at the back end that do all that decision logic. The crucial, is someone eligible, not eligible? Are they? What is the rate that they should be achieving or getting for this insurance application and things like that? And so North52 rules engine works on the server side, testing all those rules, and it allows us to get a really, really high throughput of rules because the UI testing is obviously has to be done through a browser, and it's click after click after click that needs to be simulated, whereas we can process everything server side and get those rules through very, very quickly. And then it's all integrated again with Azure DevOps, so any issues can be flagged up as a task for someone to go and add to a backlog to get fixed.
Very cool. So the people watching this, they are interested in using a rules engine or automated testing. Are there sort of any tips you'd give them if they've never worked with either North52 or any kind of rules engine or the testing? What would you? Well, if you met somebody down the pub, you're watching New Zealand lose to Wales in my mythical scenario, it's going to be a while before that happens. But anyway,
it has happened once.
and in between watching Wales score another try, they were like, "So rules engines, what should I be looking out for?"
Yeah, I guess it's got to be straightforward to use. It's key. It's got to be very flexible as well. They've got what you call a horizontal product. We're not tied to any vertical, although most of our clients are either in sort of finance, insurance, or government scenarios. We've got lots of clients in other industries as well. So it needs to be flexible to be able to work with all those different rules that you have in your organization. And I guess it's got to be quick and easy to implement. One of the things that is kind of unique about North52 as rules engine is, we're 100% focused on the Dynamics platform, which means we're installed as an add-on, and that means you don't need to set up any additional servers in Azure or some other data center. It all just sits right inside that Dynamics environment, which has massive benefits for cost benefits, but also things like GDPR. It means that all the information that we're processing stays inside the client's environment. It doesn't come to North52. It's all within the Microsoft environments there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we're coming to the end of our time together. It's been really interesting hearing more about rules engines. I'll be honest, although I've heard about them and kind of seen them on our projects, both in sort of my previous lives, it's cool to hear a bit more about how they're being used by customers and some of the latest ways of using them. If anybody out there would like to contact Bruce. So I've got his LinkedIn down there. Feel free to add him on LinkedIn and send him a message. Or if you want to get in contact, have a look more about North52, then their email, their URL is there as well. So Bruce, with that, I just want to thank you for coming on to the Seer session and spending a bit of time with us. It's great to see you. And I hope everybody watching this has found it as interesting as I have. And I wish everybody a great rest of your week. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard. Cheers.